Let's talk about the brain science behind pornography addiction. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. In this video, I'd like to talk about 3 shocking truths about pornography consumption and then tell you how it leads to pornography addiction as the habit escalates. But there's good news, and I'll share that with you at the end of this video. Okay, so let's break down the brain science. The first shocking truth is that most people find pornography during adolescence or at a very young age. And what we know from the science is the younger that you consume pornography, the faster and harder your brain is hijacked. What that means is that from that early time, porn becomes a tool for self-soothing. So many people think that porn is about sex. It's not. It's about mood regulation, taking the edge off of stress and anxiety, and sometimes filling the place of boredom. It becomes the number one primary tool. So, we're going to talk about how to get more tools in your toolbox at the end of this video. Number 2 is that we know that porn distorts your sexual arousal template from that early age. So whatever you're consuming in the screen, your brain becomes linked to it as the thing that provides the most and the highest level of arousal for you. So what it does is it creates this flood of neurochemicals to make your brain feel great, better than it can feel in the real world. It's a super normal stimulus. It hijacks your brain. So the third shocking truth is that in doing so, it is changing the way that your brain performs. It changes your brain's structure and function. So the way that it works is that our brains are like a muscle. It's a use it or lose it system. So just like the muscles in your arm, if you use your brain in a certain direction, and in this case, we'll say if you go back to the screen and you consume more pornography, and especially if you couple it with masturbation and orgasm, what happens is those neural pathways are being traversed over and over and over, and that is the direction your brain is going to go in for self-soothing, taking the edge off of stress and anxiety. And so you need to teach your brain and rewire it in a new direction for mood regulation, because those underlying mechanisms are changing and are hardwiring in every time you go back to the screen. So what we know from the science is how this becomes an addiction is through tolerance. So the more that you go back, the more your brain needs higher levels of arousal, which then leads to loss of control, which means you, instead of desiring porn, you require porn. There becomes a shift into compulsion, which leads into addiction. You must go back into the screen to feel okay because your brain has recalibrated the way that it's using neurotransmitters to be dependent on pornography, which what that leads to eventually is withdrawal symptoms if you try to stop watching porn. So that is how your brain changes the neural performance based upon going back in. It's due to neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity can be your worst enemy if you keep going back to porn, but it can be your best friend when you decide you're going to quit the screen and you're going to build some new habits in your life, which we will continue to talk about in just a second. So what happens is, we know from the science too, is that when you keep going back into the screen, eventually you're going to need more and more and more due to escalation. What this leads to is not only increased anxiety and depression, lack of motivation, and erectile dysfunction, it also leads to relationship dissatisfaction. You find your partner less attractive and you find sex with your partner boring because it can't compare to the super normal stimulus of porn. Now, on to the good news. The good news is that use it or lose it system can be used to your advantage. We're going to break the negative feedback loop that you've been stuck in and create a new positive feedback loop for change and transformation. And it works this way, is that you can make neuroplasticity your best friend by staying out of the screen and finding a new way to regulate your mood. And honestly, you should find many new ways. Think about it as your toolbox. Instead of having one tool to de-stress and fill boredom, let's get 10 tools in that toolbox of yours. Let's fill the toolbox with exercise, with healthy food, with a morning routine, with an evening routine, with books and reading, with your 5 favorite hobbies, with hanging out with your favorite people, with work that you love to do. Those all become mood regulation techniques that are very, very healthy for you. And that's your first brain tip for today. Fill your toolbox. Get as many tools in the toolbox as you take porn out. It will help you. Number 2 is that build a healthy lifestyle in terms of sexuality. So if you have a partner, learn to engage with your partner in a way of connection. Lenny Kravitz recently in an article was talking about how sex can be the most spiritual experience of connection when done in a healthy way. And that's because it becomes a total brain and body experience where it's not only about the dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, but it's also about the neurotransmitters for joy and happiness and connection. So that becomes essential. And then, of course, find a strategy to stay out of the screen. Make a plan. Don't leave it to chance. You have 3 seconds when that hijacker starts talking to you to run, not walk in the opposite direction. Know where you're going to go. Know what you're going to do. Shift your physical and mental space. Get into a place of connection to other people or to things that put you on purpose so that you can stay out of the screen, let that pattern unwire, rewire in the new healthy pattern using your new toolbox so you can hardwire that pattern in for the long run. Okay, hope that helps you out. And if you're looking for help on this journey, go on over to my website at drtrishleigh.com. There's lots of programs there in different shapes and sizes. I would absolutely love to help you out because you deserve it. And until next time, control your brain or it'll control you.